Avengers Infinity War has finally hit theaters around the world, and it didn't disappoint. The film was a culmination of everything that came before it, as heroes came together in an attempt to prevent the Mad Titan Thanos from collecting the 6 Infinity Stones. While the movie gave us a lot of answers, it also left us wondering about a lot of things. In this video, we'll run you through 10 of the biggest questions that Avengers Infinity War left hanging, and needless to say, this video contains spoilers, so if you haven't seen it, save this video for later. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. It's the best way of keeping up to date with all of Screen Rant's great new videos.
Hey! It isn't Star Prince.
Star-Lord.
Oh, sorry, Lord.
What exactly happened on Xandar? The trailer for Avengers Infinity War clearly showed that Thanos was in possession of the Power Stone early in the movie, that being the purple stone inside the orb that was first seen in 2014's Guardians of the Galaxy. Now, while we know trailers can be misleading, this led fans to believe that we'd see the Mad Titan obtaining the orb on Xandar in the movie's opening scenes. Xandar being the planet on which it was being kept for supposed safekeeping by the intergalactic peacekeeping organization known as the Nova Corps. However, the movie actually opened with Thanos and his Black Order obtaining the Tesseract, aka the Space Stone, aboard Thor's spaceship, the Statesman, having already obtained the Power Stone off-screen. We don't know, therefore, exactly what happened on Xandar. We can assume from precedent that half the planet's population was probably wiped out. But is the planet itself still intact? Do the Nova Corps still exist? Were John C. Reilly's and Glenn Close's characters spared? It's a key question because the possibility of Nova, the superhero otherwise known as Richard Rider, being introduced to the Marvel Cinematic Universe in the near future could depend on what happened there.
Oh, Miek, you're alive! He's alive, guys. What was your question again, bro?
Did Valkyrie, Korg, and Miek survive? In the opening scenes aboard Thor's ship, a number of characters who we know were passengers on it were notably missing, those being Valkyrie, Korg, and Miek, all of whom we first met in 2017's brilliant Thor Ragnarok. The 3 characters were all extremely popular with fans after their first appearance in the MCU, so it's worrying for them that they might be already dead. You have to imagine that if indeed the trio were on board, they would have stood up to Thanos and the Black Order alongside Thor, the Hulk, Loki, and Heimdall. So the question is, had they already tried to do so and been killed in the process before Avengers Infinity War's opening scene? Had they been deployed into space on some kind of smaller vessel to ensure that there was some survivors from Thanos' attack? Or were they actually so terrified that they were hiding? It's strongly expected that all 3 characters will reappear in the MCU. Kevin Feige has recently said as much about Korg and Miek, but that doesn't mean they definitely weren't killed. After all, the Infinity Gauntlet could simply be used to resurrect everyone who died at the hands of Thanos and his minions in the 4th Avengers movie next year.
Buckled in?
Yeah. No, I'm good. I'm good, Arrow guy. Let's go. Let's go!
Where were Hawkeye, Ant-Man, and the Wasp? In spite of the fact that both Jeremy Renner's Hawkeye and Paul Rudd's Ant-Man were expected to appear in Avengers Infinity War, it turns out that neither of them did. A passing reference to the pair was the only evidence they even exist in the MCU. So where exactly were they? The same question can be asked of Evangeline Lilly's Wasp, because although she hasn't actually been seen assuming the Wasp mantle in the franchise, Ant-Man and the Wasp will be set before Infinity War. So she was definitely already active as the superheroine in the MCU when Thanos came to Earth. Why wasn't she helping the hero's cause? Sure, Hawkeye and Ant-Man have families, but this was bigger than all of that. There's no point in staying with your family if the very event that you're not helping to stop is going to wipe them from existence. The likelihood is that the trio were on some kind of secret mission, perhaps at the request of someone like Nick Fury, Steve Rogers, or even Doctor Strange. But we won't find out if that was the case until the 4th Avengers movie next year, or at the very earliest in this year's Ant-Man and the Wasp, which, by the way, looks absolutely awesome.
Feel so desperately that you're right, yet to fail all the same.
Is Ebony Maw definitely dead? Without any shadow of a doubt, when it comes to the Black Order, aka the Children of Thanos, Ebony Maw was definitely the most interesting character. It would therefore be pretty cool to see more of him in the future of the MCU, but he appeared to perish when Iron Man and Spider-Man teamed up to send him into the vacuum of space, where he quickly froze in the same way the Xenomorph was killed in 1986's Aliens, thanks to Spidey taking inspiration from that very movie.
That wasn't funny, man.
However, unlike the death of the other members of the Black Order, Ebony Maw's demise could quite easily be overcome, especially in comic book movie terms, as Maw could simply thaw out and wake up. Bucky Barnes has already proven that that's possible in the MCU after all. Maw's powers were impressive. He was a powerful sorcerer with amazing telekinetic abilities, and his personality was creepy as hell. Frankly, he was a better character than most of the primary villains in the previous MCU movies. In the comics, Maw has been known to have his own agenda, defying his purple-chinned master in the process, and it would be cool to see something like that pan out on the big screen in the future.
Unlike you, I embrace it proudly, without fear. Then how come you're running?
Will we see Red Skull again? One of Avengers Infinity War's biggest and most pleasant surprises was the return of Johann Schmidt, who is, of course, otherwise known as the Red Skull. We last saw the character in 2011's Captain America: The First Avenger, when he appeared to perish after handling the Tesseract, which we've since discovered had the Space Stone inside it. As it turns out, the Nazi villain hadn't perished at all. He'd simply been transported across the universe to a desolate planet. The planet in question was Vormir, where he had become the keeper of the Soul Stone, and in Avengers Infinity War, that's where Thanos traveled to acquire it. Hugo Weaving didn't reprise his role as the character. The Walking Dead star Ross Marquand stepped into his shoes, but it was great to see him nonetheless. His appearance has changed. He now resembles some sort of wraith, and after 70 years of isolation, his character had too. So the question is, will we see him again in the MCU, and what might his intentions be now? His role as Keeper of the Soul Stone is now redundant, given that Thanos successfully acquired it, so will the character look to head back to Earth? Only time will tell.
Fine. I'll do it myself.
What's the status of the Infinity Gauntlet? Avengers Infinity War saw the first major appearance of the real Infinity Gauntlet in the MCU, as Thanos used it to house all 6 Infinity Stones to carry out his plans to balance the universe. We learned that it was forged by the dwarves of Nidavellir and was therefore incredibly well made and durable. It took some big hits from some of the most formidable heroes in the universe and survived unscathed. But it did end up cracked and charred when the Mad Titan did his infamous finger click to wipe out half of all life in the universe. Then, at the end of the movie, after Thanos had teleported away from Wakanda, healed the wounds he suffered during his plight, and settled to watch the sunset in the aftermath of his victory, he was no longer wearing it. So the question is, where is it? What's its current status? Has Thanos stored it for safekeeping? Has he destroyed both it and the stones it houses in an attempt to prevent anyone from undoing his actions? It's hard to believe that such an integral plot item has disappeared completely, especially given that it will probably be needed to bring Spider-Man, Black Panther, Star-Lord, and the other heroes back. But as of right now, its whereabouts and status are unknown.
Endless looped time.
Is Doctor Strange really gone? It's pretty obvious that Benedict Cumberbatch's Doctor Strange is important when it comes to the MCU's heroes ultimately coming out on top in the war against Thanos. That became clear when the sorcerer used the Time Stone to view all possible outcomes of the conflict, before informing his fellow heroes that only one path led to their victory. Strange then turned to dust when the Mad Titan carried out his plan to wipe out half the life in the universe, suggesting that his own death was integral to the heroes winning. But was that really what happened? Did Doctor Strange really die when Thanos clicked his fingers? There's every chance that Strange actually created the illusion of his own death in order to work on undoing Thanos' actions from behind the scenes. Maybe he even traveled back in time to warn his past self in order to give them a chance to better prepare for the Mad Titan's assault on the universe. Strange showed himself to be incredibly powerful in Infinity War. He could cast the Crimson Bands of Sidorak, create copies of himself, and much more. So it makes sense that his participation in undoing Thanos' actions will be required. He might still be alive, therefore.
You and me, we stay here on the ground. We keep the fighting here. And Hulk. Smash.
What's the one way the heroes can win? On a strongly related note to the last question, what is the one scenario seen by Doctor Strange when he looked into the future that will allow the MCU's heroes to win? Strange saw 4,605 possible futures, and only a single one of those ended in the hero's winning. Has he seen the coming of Captain Marvel? Has he seen an existing hero sacrifice himself permanently for the greater good? We're looking at you, Cap.
I could do this all day.
Has he seen the importance of the quantum realm, and therefore the importance of Ant-Man and the Wasp? Has he seen Nebula stealing the Infinity Gauntlet and undoing everything like she did in the 1991 comic book story of the same name? Well, the answer is, we don't know, at this stage, but we're sure to find out in the next Avengers movie, when Strange's visions of the future will undoubtedly be covered in more detail. What happened to the off-screen characters? When Thanos clicked his fingers and erased half of all life in the universe, there was potential for every single character that we've ever met in the MCU to disappear. A number of those characters appeared in Avengers Infinity War, but weren't on screen when the finger click occurred, so the fates of characters like Shuri, Wong, Pepper Potts, General Ross, the Collector, who was never truly shown dying on screen, and even the Red Skull are all unclear. And what about those who weren't in the movie? The likes of Happy Hogan, Eric Selvig, Jane Foster, Darcy Lewis, Sif, Helen Cho, Sharon Carter, Harley Keener, Aunt May, Adrian Toombs, Emil Blonsky, the Grandmaster, Sir Tor, Howard the Duck, Ned, and MJ? What happened to all of those characters? Moreover, will it affect the MCU's television shows? What happened to the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the Defenders, the Runaways, the Inhumans, and Cloak and Dagger when Thanos clicked his fingers, for example? If it really is all connected, surely the events of Infinity War will have a massive impact on the franchise's TV spin-offs. And now really is a great opportunity to show that everything in the franchise is interlinked.
You need to keep both eyes open.
Will we see all of those dead characters again? This is the big one. This is the question everybody really wants to know the answer to. When Thanos clicked his fingers at the end of Avengers Infinity War, a plethora of established characters were wiped from existence. Bucky Barnes, Drax, Groot, Mantis, Scarlet Witch, Spider-Man, Star-Lord, Doctor Strange, Black Panther, Falcon, Maria Hill, and Nick Fury all turned to dust. Let's be honest. Although we're not currently 100% sure, it's fairly safe to assume those guys will all return, not least because the likes of Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, Black Panther, and the Guardians of the Galaxies all have sequels in the works. What about the characters who were killed before the finger click? Will we ever see the likes of Loki, Heimdall, or Gamora again? Gamora's death was intrinsically linked to the Soul Stone, so there's a good chance of her returning, but it would be pretty devastating to see Loki and Heimdall permanently dead. The fact that some of these characters are confirmed to reappear in the MCU doesn't even prove anything, as they might merely be appearing in glimpses of alternate timelines or even in altered memories created by Tony Stark's BARF technology. The truth is, we won't know who's coming back to life until Avengers 4, whatever that's going to be called, and frankly, we can't wait to find out.
Yeah, it's called the Revenges.
Revenges?
And that's the end of our video. Did you enjoy it? What questions do you have after Avengers Infinity War? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Screen Rant for more great videos like this one. Bye for now.